All right, guys, welcome back to the Bears Private Plays YouTube channel. As you can tell, I'm not on the left side of your screen. Had some technical difficulties this morning, so I don't know what it is. I think it's the Wi-Fi connection. Every time I talk, it's like 3 seconds behind what I'm saying on the screen. So, not going to show my face today. Not going to show my face this morning, but here is the NFL picks. We're going to be breaking down Thursday night football for you guys today. This is the updated recap graphic. Lions -4.5 on Monday Night Football against Seattle. Very exciting game. Lions take it by a couple of touchdowns. Tony Pollard over 51.5 rushing yards. He got that on one play in the second half against Miami. I think he finished with 80 plus rushing yards. And then DK Metcalf, 100 plus yards through the air and a touchdown. Did he score? I think he scored. He had a big game. He might have not scored, but Seattle doing a lot against that Lions secondary. Here's the updated leaderboard: 3-0 on Monday night, 11-3 over the last 7, 31-18 year to date. We're starting to feel ourselves in the NFL, and we're going to keep on rolling here with the Thursday night football game. Tampa Bay going up against the Atlanta Falcons. I think Tampa Bay this season is a pretty good team. I said that a couple times already. They took care of business against the Eagles as underdog last week, and I didn't think that line made any sense. They are relatively healthy coming into this game as well, getting a couple big pieces back on the defensive side last week. And I'm going to take them to win this game outright once again this week. I'm going to take them plus 1.5 just in case. So this is a lot like that Philadelphia Eagles game last week for them. I think the book is undervaluing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. I don't see where this is coming from. I think Atlanta, they're a fine team. I do think Kirk Cousins is still beat up just a little bit. He's not very mobile in that pocket. And they've done a horrible job coaching so far this year. I thought maybe they turned a corner with some of their better players like Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts. And I know a lot of people can make an argument about Kyle Pitts not being a very good tight end, but he is very athletic. He can do things that other tight ends can't do in the league. He's got speed. I think he can catch. They hardly throw him the ball, but I'm just not entirely sure what they're doing with Robinson. Tyler Algier last week outsnapped Bijan Robinson. He got more rushing attempts than him. Robinson's one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's one of the most explosive running backs in the NFL, one of the most elusive running backs in the NFL, and they're just not giving him the ball. Only 6 carries last weekend. That's after he got 14 plus carries in the first 3 games of the season. So I'm not entirely sure what that was about. Maybe the Saints defensively are pretty good at stopping the run, but it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me at the time. I think the coaching is a wreck over there. I do think we're going to see Bijan Robinson carry the majority of the workload this week in this game because I'm sure they had hell this week trying to explain to everybody why Robinson only had 6 carries in the game. But at the same time, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the better team all the way around. I think they have the better offense. I think they have the better defense. And I know they've got the better coaching because what I saw against the Saints was horrible from the Falcons, even though they did win the game. I'm going to keep going with the trend of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers being undervalued. Take them plus 1.5 here on Thursday Night Football. Let's take a look at some player props for this game. We're going to start with the wide receiver prop, maybe one of the best wide receivers in the last 10 years, Mike Evans, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, over 60.5 receiving yards against Atlanta. Mike Evans, since 2014, coming in the league, he's recorded at least 1,000 receiving yards in 10 consecutive seasons, and I don't know if that's going to stop this year with Baker Mayfield as his quarterback. He hasn't been used a ton this season, only 18 catches, 214 yards through 4 weeks, but he does have 3 touchdowns, and he was a big part of the offense last week. I think they might have sat down in a meeting over the weekdays and talked about his production on the field because on Sunday he was targeted 14 times against the Eagles. And in the first 3 games of the season, he was only targeted a total of 15 times. Now, it's not always possible to get your best guy the ball. Chris Godwin, he's doing a really good job of the first 3 games whenever Mike Evans was getting double teamed and had some tough matchups. But last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, we saw 8 catches, 14 targets, 94 yards on a touchdown in that game against the Eagles. Tampa Bay throwing the ball was so good last week that Darius Slay, he had to go on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, tell everybody that he has 6 Pro Bowls. He's a really good defensive player. And then when everybody did that, people didn't like it. They decided to go after him, and then he decided to make his Twitter account private. So I would say the Eagles secondary is in really good shape for the rest of the year. That Eagles team, they're up. Everybody's in control. That team chemistry is great. The coaching's really good over there. Nothing should change over there. But Mike Evans, he's coming off that really good game, and I'm not entirely sure if Atlanta's very good in the secondary. We saw both Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed go over 80-plus yards receiving last week against them. And they had both 8 catches as well. They played the Chiefs a week before that. And the number 1 wide receiver in that game, Rashee Rice, put up 12 catches and 110 yards. They also played the Eagles without A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith was able to do some damage as well. I haven't been very impressed with the secondary for the Atlanta Falcons. This Tampa Bay team, they love to throw the ball. They've got two really good wide receiver options. I don't even know if Atlanta can stop either of those, Chris Godwin or Mike Evans. I'm going to take Mike Evans here to have a big day, over 60.5 receiving yards as the play. For the next play, we're going to be looking at the Falcons. Give me Bijan Robinson. I'm going to do it. Over 65.5 rushing yards against Tampa. One of the weaknesses this season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense has been the rushing defense. They're giving up 131.5 rushing yards per game. That's bottom 10 in football this year. They did get Vita Vea back last week, so that's going to help them a little bit. But I'm going to take Robinson over 65.5 rushing yards. This feels way too low. And I'm taking him because of that defense for Tampa Bay. They haven't been great over the first 4 weeks. I'm also taking him because there is no way the Atlanta Falcons look at what they did last week and decide to double down on it. They gave their first overall pick in 2023, the 8th overall pick in the draft, 7 total carries on the ground against the Saints. He had 14 plus carries in all of his other games this season. I'm sure that they're hearing it on the weekdays of how Robinson didn't get the ball on Sunday against the Saints. Statistically, this will be the best chance that Robinson has on the ground going up against Tampa Bay because the defenses he's faced, Saints, Chiefs, Pittsburgh, and the Eagles being the worst of those teams on defense. He did manage 97 yards on only 14 carries. We don't see double-digit carries in this game by one of their best players on the field. There might be some changes to that Atlanta Falcons coaching staff. I'll take one of the best players in football, over 65.5 rushing yards as the play there. Let's take a look at the recap graphic. We're going to be taking Tampa Bay plus 1.5 in this matchup against the Falcons on Thursday Night Football. Mike Evans over 60.5 receiving yards against the Falcons, and then Bijan Robinson over 65.5 rushing yards against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Guys, it's going to do it for the NFL plays and props for Thursday, October 3rd slate of games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.